probably should have prepared better for this. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah, and this is the mid-year book freakout tag. This is also the, sixth video I have filmed today, so expect me to be very incoherent. This tag has been around for a very long time on the booktube. I don't know the original creator's name, but I will attempt to find it and link it down below. You have probably seen many a person in your subfeed do this, so I thought I would hop on and do it as well. So starting at the top of the list is the hardest question for me to answer, and that is the best book you have read in 2023. I don't know. I have read, I think so far I'm sitting at like 150 books so far this year. The short list that I can say, the books that have stuck with me the most, is probably going to be Witch King Translation State, The Warden, most of Ancient Magus Bride. I really love Husky and His White Cat Shizun as far as Don May and light novels go, so I can't really pick one singular book. It's kind of like asking me to pick my favorite appendage, right? Everybody has this problem. We can't pick our favorite books. So I couldn't tell you for sure what my favorite book I've read this year is, but I have read some good ones, and I think the Witch King right here and The Warden are pretty high on the list for me, especially The Warden. That might be up at the top of the list. The best sequel that I have read this year, again, I haven't read a lot of sequels this year, so I can't really pick one out, but the one sequel that does stand out to me is Husky and His White Cat Shizun Volume 2. I love the ending on this volume, and I am so anxiously awaiting the third book. I think it comes out at the end of the year, because I have theories on who our mysterious antagonist may be, and I really want to know if I'm right. So it's probably going to be the best sequel that I have read. I'm not counting any manga in that. I didn't consider any manga in that because that's where I've read all my sequels is manga, but I have read so much that it would be almost impossible to pick the best one. Question 3 is new release you haven't read yet that you want to. I was going to say need to, but want to. That is probably going to be The Will of the Many by James Islington. I am very excited for this. In fact, I have a ARC copy of this, but I haven't read it yet. And I will disclaimer and say I have a bunch of ARCs that are backlogged that came out at the beginning of the year that I need to read, but this is the one I'm probably the most excited for. I'm so excited, in fact, that I'm actually kind of mad that my cover's dust jacket is a little bent. I don't normally get bent out of shape. I don't normally get bothered by that sort of thing on my books. I like my books to be a little worn, but for some reason that's bothering me. But I am excited about this. This is a Roman-inspired fantasy story as far as I'm aware, and it is the start to a new series from this author. It's a chunky boy, but the chapter or two that I've read so far, I really, really enjoyed. Question 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Besides Husky Volume 3, I think that's going to be Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher or Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. Those two are, well, T. Kingfisher for sure is a favorite author, and Travis Baldree is quickly climbing those ranks. Legends and Lattes was incredible, and we'll see if Bookshops and Bone Dust is just as good. He's going to be in the running. I try to keep a three book rule for authors. Travis Baldree is just so good with Legend. I have 3 copies of that book. So we'll see how Bookshops and Bone Dust go. I'm very, very excited for that. Question 5 is biggest disappointment of the year. And that is sadly going to be In the Lives of Puppets by DJ Clune. I disliked this book so much that I sold my extra copy because I didn't want more than one copy on my shelf. I frankly wouldn't have wanted a copy on my shelf, but this one is just absolutely beautiful, so I let it slide. Also, I do love DJ Clune's books in general, but this one just, it didn't work for me. Didn't work for me, guys. Didn't work at all. So we'll see. It's gonna go on this shelf with my collection because I have 2 of his books coming later in the year. I have Wolfsong and Wolfsong and Ravensong coming. So I do have a bit of a Clune collection going, so I do want to have a copy for that. But that was possibly my biggest disappointment this year. I don't recommend it. Question 6 is the biggest surprise of the year. I will give that to The Warden, which is behind me. I should have grabbed it off the shelf. In fact, I've mentioned it a couple times already, but this was the biggest surprise for me. I didn't expect to love this nearly as much as I did, but I absolutely adored this book. I read an arc and then I went out and bought my own copy because I wanted one for reread purposes. I plan on rereading and annotating this. This is about a woman fresh out of, we'll call it mage college, with multiple degrees, and she is sent to a backwater town to be their local law enforcement, their town mage, town wizard, whatever you want to call it. Her speciality is, why did I say that weird? Her speciality? Why can't I say that? Why does that word sound weird? Moving on. She specializes in necromancy, but is certified. She graduated with degrees in a couple of different magic schools, and it is her learning to fit in there and uncovering a mystery and a adventure while she's there. Freaking loved this. Fantastic book. I will also say Keeper 6 by Kate Elliott was a big surprise. I also didn't expect to love that book. It really got me with its dimension traveling sort of mechanics. That sort of thing doesn't always work for me. I don't typically love that sort of mechanic in a book, but she pulled it off fantastically. She also had a fantastic representation for a older main character, and I loved the world and the different races she built. I would absolutely love to see more in this series and this world, and I'm hoping that she puts more out. She's very high on my list to read more from. In fact, I enjoyed that so much, and I have read her very far away in the past, so I would like to return to her work. Question number 7 is your new favorite author. This one I had to reach into the manga for because I haven't read enough new to me authors to say favorite. Travis Baldree is very close to that list because I just love Legends and Lattes so much. It's right here behind me. But I can't safely say that without having read another book or two from him. Like I said, I like to keep to the 3-book rule. So for that, I'm going to say Kore Yamazaki, who wrote the Ancient Magus Bride series. Absolutely love that series. I have read all that's out on the main series in that, and I would really like to start the spin-off series, but I haven't yet. But she is a new favorite as far as manga goes. And the main one that I really, really love now is Tatsuki Fujimoto. They wrote Chainsaw Man, which I did not like at first, but absolutely love now, having read all of the first arc, and then we're now into the second. But also, I have loved his independent work that has come out, so that's going to be 1721 and 2226. Loved both of those short story collections, and I have Goodbye Airy coming in the mail. It may be here today. In fact, I need to check my mailbox. That is his newest release, and I'm very excited to see what that is. No idea what it is. Just know that it is Tatsuki Fujimoto, so I'm gonna read it. Dude is, I'm pretty sure it's a man, but they are absolutely genius. I love the work, so I can't wait for more from that guy. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. I don't do fictional crushes, so moving rapidly along. Question 9 is newest favorite character. I'm going to say Cleric Chi and Almost Brilliant, their companion. I love Cleric Chi. They are from the Singing Hills cycle by Nifo. That is a series that I picked up the first book when it first came out, and I enjoyed it. But I never did read the rest of the books, but I did read them for Tour.comathon this year and really fell in love with the series. I have the next book coming out in the fall on ARC, so I will read that soon. But Cleric Chi, their sense of humor and the way they just persevere in the state of ridiculous odds. All I can remember is when the tiger came down the mountain and they're talking to these tigers that are most likely going to eat them, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to write it down, and someone's going to find this on my half-eaten corpse. You know what, that's fine. We're going to do it. Just keep going. Their sense of humor is fantastic. And Almost Brilliant is the little bird companion that follows them around, and she is the sassiest little thing. Love her. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. It's going to be Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater. Let me double check that. I probably should have prepared better for this. I have had Olivia Atwater on my TBR for a while. I have Half a Soul on Kindle. One of my besties bought it for me for Christmas one year, and I just haven't read it. That is my toxic trait, is I don't read things when people buy them for me or when I'm supposed to. It's there you go. But I have read Small Miracles, and it was a fine book. It's a dandy book. I was enjoying myself until like the last 50 pages, last 30 pages, right at the end. And I was sitting out on the back porch, and a scene happened, a line was said, and I had to lay this book down and just sob. I put my face in my hands and sobbed. So this was a book that made me cry this year. I very much recommend it. It deals with grief though, so if that's not something you like to read about, maybe avoid. Question 11 is a book that made you happy. This is going to be A Lady for a Duke and Mortal Follies. Both of those are by Alexis Hall, so I will say both of those made me extremely happy. I loved A Lady for a Duke because I loved the way that he took such care, and he really gave you this heartfelt, at times funny, but very genuine and engrossing story about these two people losing each other and then finding each other again and falling in love, and it just, oh, it broke me open and I loved it. And then Mortal Follies was hilarious, and that is an unpopular opinion I'm finding. A lot of people aren't enjoying it, but that's okay. You know, it's not for everybody. It has a quirky narration style. We are told the story through the view of a fairy. I do believe it's Puck, as they follow along a young woman who has been cursed, and she attempts to find out who cursed her, and the cast of characters is hysterical. It just had me smiling the whole time. I was just in the mood for that sort of thing, and it hit perfectly. Question 12 is favorite book or film adaptation that you have seen. I don't watch TV and movies. Like, I don't consume visual media that way. I will play video games, obviously. I love video games. And I love books, but I just don't do TV and movies. I do documentaries sometimes, and anime, but that's it. So I'm not gonna, I didn't even think about anime as an adaptation. What I did choose was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is the second Spider-Verse movie. I just saw that in the theaters because the first Spider-Verse movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I did want to go see the second one, and this is technically an adaptation of a comic book character, so I'm counting it. It's beautiful. I am no critic to this media, but I can tell you the way they emphasize and use art for the different characters, for the different viewpoints, the way they lean into that artsy feel throughout the whole movie, the way they showcase all the different Spider-Men and women from across the, multiverse, just, oh, so good. And the acting, the voice acting is impeccable. Absolutely loved that movie. And the music choices, yet again, were fantastic. So, highly recommend. If you haven't seen that movie, or if you haven't seen either of them, I highly recommend both of them. Like I said, I don't watch movies, but the Spider-Verse movies are some of my favorites now. I cannot wait for the third one. Oh my god, the ending. Great movie. Question 13 is favorite video that you have made this year, and I don't really have an answer to that. I don't like to go back and rewatch my old videos. I am a very awkward person, if that hasn't come across. I can tell you my favorite thumbnail I made was the thumbnail I made for The Salt Grows Heavy. So that's my answer for that. Question 14 is the most beautiful book you have bought or been given this year. I have a small stack that I can use for that. So I went out of my way to buy a copy of The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bodard. I may just love this one a lot because I love Aliette de Bodard, but I really love the ombre pages and the artwork for this, so I love this one. The cover of Child of the Daystar really gets me. Draconic person. I like this cover a lot. I don't exactly know how to convey to you why, but I do. It just tickles my happy buttons in my brain. The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi, which is a fairy loot book, is absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The sprayed edges, the gold foiling. There is gold foiling inside. Just, yes. And the last book that I have, again, one that I went out of my way to find used, was Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. I love these edges. The colors, everything, fantastic. So those would be my favorite beautiful books that I have been given or bought this year. And the final question, question 15, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I have so many NetGalley arcs that I need to read. See, Mammoths at the Gate, I mentioned. Thornhedge, I mentioned. I have Raven Song by TJ Klune. I have The Hurricane Wars coming out. I have The Son of the Void. I have a Beanie Song. I have so many books that I need to read by the end of the year. And you know what? That's okay. I love that I have all those books to read. You know what? We're not going to get anxious and we're not going to get overwhelmed about it. So many good books this year. I'm very excited. So that is it. That is my mid-year freak out tag. Please let me know if you've done this. Link it to me. I want to see. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think. What is your most anticipated book for the year? And what's your biggest disappointment of the year? I would like to know if you have any of those. That is it for me. I will talk to you guys again next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.